Welcome to the Hypothalamic Amenorrhea podcast. I'm Dani, your host, certified fertility awareness practitioner, functional nutrition counselor, and founder of the HA Society, and of course, an HA recovery coach who has walked where you currently are walking. This is the place to come if you care about getting your period regularly. This podcast aims to educate, inform, and keep you motivated on your period and HA recovery track. So let's dive in. But last thing, nothing on the show should be taken as medical advice, so please seek the advice of your physician. Hey, do you know what your blind spots are? As in, do you know what it is, what the thing is that is holding you back from getting your period back? Look, it could be an absolute plethora, cornucopia of things, but in our practice, the first place we tend to go is what behaviors and habits do you have around food that you may be still doing? And these are called blind spots because we just don't necessarily always know that they're an unhelpful habit, or that it's something that we're doing, whether it be a subconscious or conscious need to control our food or our body, or whether it be something that you've just done for so long that it feels normal and like a preference even. We have created a checklist. It's a 3-page checklist that goes through food types, behaviors around food, and mindsets around food. And what you do is you go through the lists and you check off and you see which ones are you doing, whether it be daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and how are they potentially affecting your recovery today. So it's a really simple checklist. It's just 3 pages. You go through it. There's a very simple scoring system to help you figure out how much this may be impacting your recovery. And it's just an insightful thing for you to do to help you reflect, and then you can journal about it, or you can learn more about it and just start really working at any of the boxes that you checked and understanding that they're playing a role in your recovery. So to get the checklist, all you have to do is go to thehasociety.com/blind spot, and we'll send it straight through to you. You can print it off and you can check on it every now and then. I always recommend a reflection point every 4 to 6 weeks. How are you going? Are you still checking that behavior off, or have you systematically kicked it to the curb? So check it out. It's thehasociety.com/blind spot, and it will be waiting for you there. Hey guys, welcome back to the HA podcast. So today we're talking about bleed strategies. And this kind of came up, I think, in a group text that we have where, yeah. I mean, how did it come up? Was it you, Ashley? You were just like, what do you guys do? Because...
Yeah, well, because on my most recent, so I don't even mind. So first off, let me just say that I technically never know when I'm going to have a period. Not because I'm not regular, but I literally generally have no symptoms. I have no symptoms, meaning that for me now, I feel like I could just start bleeding wherever. There's no lead up other than I'm slightly short on my patience with everybody and anything living, right? But it's not intense. It's just I'm really irritated by you. Right.
When you say you don't have a heads up, are you saying that you kind of want to know the second it's about to happen, or just the day it's about to happen?
Well, I mean, I guess maybe the day. I mean, because if I'm walking,
but you do know the day. The first day your temperature is back to normal, that's the day.
Well, so
don't be coming at me with you don't know what the day is.
Listen, because I'm not temping. Because I haven't been temping. I've been
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
That's why
if you're not temping, you're just kind of going with the flow, quite literally. You know what I mean?
Literally just going with the flow of the cervical mucus. And again, I'm not saying that this is I'm not saying this is recommended. I'm saying that I haven't bought temp drop.
No, I hear you. I didn't temp at all last month either.
Toddler now I'm getting up early and like temping at like 5 o'clock in the morning. Anyways, long story short, there's a lot of reasons why I'm not. And I haven't died. I haven't gotten pregnant. You know what I mean? So that's all that matters. You know, I haven't died, I haven't got pregnant, and my cycle comes all the time. But my whole point is that like I don't really have a lot of acne leading up. I don't have a lot of bloating leading up. I don't really have bad body image days leading up. I literally just have this one sign of like, I'm a little short on patience today, which I think is a great thing to have. But my whole point is, but then every month I have to have this freaking debacle. And this is where I think I texted you, because I was just like, well, texted all y'all, because I was just like, okay, like, what are we doing here? Because if, like, when I go and buy tampons, I literally have to stand there and be like, okay, which one is not going to kill me? Which one isn't, like, going to, like, be super toxic for my uterus, to, you know, and everything else. Oh, and then there's these great organic brands. I'm thankful that they're available in the store. First off, I'm thankful that I'm in a first world country where we have these products, all right? So, like, I don't want to, like, lose sight. But I'm literally standing there having to choose between super toxic tampons and bleeding through my shorts all the time. And I'm like, how is there not a middle? Does that make sense? So like when I'm using organic tampons, I'm literally using them and I have to change them every hour. And even if I have to change them every hour, I'm still bleeding through. And right now it's summertime and I have like my favorite pair of shorts. If I bleed through my favorite pair of shorts on day one, I'm done. I'm going to have to wait for them to get washed. You know what I mean? So that's where all this was coming through, was like, I was like, what are we doing? Let's have a real conversation. And side note, I have tried the salt disc cups. And again, this is where my rant was going. I bleed through those too. And I'm like, okay, there's like one opening. It's my vagina. How are we missing this? How are we missing this? So I'm just,
I wonder if your disc size is like too small.
I wonder, like you literally,
like maybe your vagina opening is like, and maybe that's why Nuggie just like slid right out real quick.
Maybe. I don't know. That's what I was just like, and then that's where my rant was like, I'm not observing everyone's vaginas during the day. Like what I'm observing is everyone's cervical mucus and charts, not vaginas. Yeah. No. So I'm like, we're literally here with the context of just my vagina. That's okay. That was my rant that I had sent to them, so y'all can imagine what this opened.
I did not chart last month. I chart like halfway through I did, and then I shit you not, I lost the temp drop. Like in the house somewhere, I couldn't find it. I found it again. Well, this is very bougie, but my cleaner found it. I was like, where did you find this? And then she doesn't speak English, so she just like pointed to the couch area. So it was in the vicinity of the couch, probably, like, I'm not sure. But I was like, well, this month's like a write-off, it's fine. So I'm just gonna like go by feel. So exactly same thing, Ash. And I didn't know exactly when I was going to bleed. But I do kind of have a hunch every time, because I start to get just a little bit nauseous. Right? Like just so ever so lightly that you might like, you might feel like, oh, you know, weird, like I ate something that just slightly didn't settle. Like it almost feels like digestive discomfort, just a tiny bit. Or it's usually in my back. So it feels like a lower back ache. And because I have a back problem that I've been working on, my brain just thinks I'm having a bad back day. And that's when I'll observe that. So literally what happens is I go, oh, my back is having a bad day. And then my brain goes, oh, I'm probably about to get my period.
Bro,
and that can happen for 2 to 3 days.
If I was to feel an ounce of nauseousness, I would immediately think I was pregnant, because that's the only way I knew that I was pregnant with Nuggie. I was like, I don't feel great. And then I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh
no.
gosh. So
that's every month for me.
Just every month. But it's like a 1 out of 10. Like you would just barely notice.
Yes.
You have
yes.
to be paying just enough attention. And that's what, and like y'all, with, if I really wondered like what's labor pain gonna feel like when I go into labor. Everyone talks about it, but what's it gonna feel like? And you hear people say it feels like period pain. And I'm like, I don't get period pain, so I don't know.
Yes.
And then I got them and I was like, oh, it's that bit of nausea and cramping that I get just before my period, but that's on a 1, and labor is on a 15.
Oh, no.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh, and so now for me, it makes sense when you hear people who have debilitating period cramps.
Oh, yeah.
They are having labor contractions, because it's the same thing, right? It's the uterus making the contractions. And so I had back labor, which makes sense because my period pain is always in my back. So I think my uterus is just like in my back, you know what I mean? But it's like, I just think that makes a lot more sense, and I have a much easier time now understanding, having like empathy for people who have debilitating cramps every month. I mean,
Yeah,
the stuff
I
they
don't
can
get
do about it, but yeah, sounds rough.
What about you, Mishi? I think
Yeah.
you use temp drop, right? So then
I use temp drop as well too. But
Code
Dani,
AC Society at the checkout, guys. Just for ad fun.
yeah,
I'm gonna use a coupon. I need it.
Yeah, 15%
Hey, but
off.
and they always have a sale. And well, wait, this
And you
probably
can
isn't.
stack the coupons.
Yeah, I was about to say this isn't gonna release over the holiday weekend, so scratch that. But they always have a discount, and yeah, it's stackable. But I actually I washed my temp drop once. So definitely get the insurance because they will not replace it.
Washed it?
But yeah, I don't get any symptoms either at all. Sometimes, very rarely, I'll get like super gassy. I don't get like period poops, but I get a little gassy, and that's when I can be like, oh, it's probably closer to my period. But I am pretty good about checking my temperature, and then and I know like the average length of my luteal phase, so I can pretty much gauge like, I bet you I'm going to start my period like either this day or this day. But my period is always like, it doesn't start like a flood. It's like a slow drip, and then like this, it's like day 2 and 3 are really heavy, and then day 4 it's like light. So it's like light, heavy, heavy, light. So I don't have like, even if it were to start in public, I don't freak out. I'm like, I got some time.
Okay. No, I'm heavy, heavy, light, light. Ashley, what are you?
I think I'm heavy, light. Definitely true.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely that. So hence why I'm like, well, damn if I do, damn if I don't, if I have an organic tampon in, because it's like, I got 1 hour max, peeps.
Okay, well, I found some organic tampons that are working thus far. Okay, I am only 1 day.
Why are you now just telling me?
I'm 1 day into using them. So
okay,
my cousin came from Australia earlier this month, and she's like, "Do you want me to bring you anything from home?" No. I'm like, not really. They have everything here now. They have Tim Tams and the whole shebang here. It's fine. And I was like, but what I could use is tampons. Because you guys have heard me complain. I don't like the applicators. Everyone here is using the applicators. It's like the plastic stick you put in yourself, and you just pump it like a bike pump into you or something like that. I've never used it. I swear. I've never used it because I'm creeped out, because the top of it is like a claw. It has like a little claw face. I just can't. So I would always take them out of the applicator and then put it in with my finger. Which like freaks Americans out, but I swear to you, like the rest of us, that's what we're doing.
Yeah. When you say that, it does freak me out.
Yeah, I'm a little like, what are you doing?
Well, and I remember like going through puberty, and I remember trying to put my first tampon in and panicking. But I think that's a common experience, even with a applicator. Because I was just like, oh! Like, what if because I didn't understand, and this is the importance of like truly learning the anatomy at school, right? But I just didn't fully understand the anatomy. I was like,
you're like, where do you want me to put this? Like, what black
like,
hole are we putting this
where is it? Like, yeah, like where is? Because you've never had sex, things like you're like, where is in the whole like there's a line, there's like a crack that's going from the front to the back, and I know it's somewhere in the middle.
For real?
But where? Like, what do you mean? Right? And so now it's so second nature, but at the time I was just like, I remember panicking and trying a number of times, and having an older sister who's just like, personality is just like, just do it. Stop being baby. So anyways, but now now it's the best thing ever. You can feel it. You truly know exactly where it's lodged in. And in taking them out of those applicators, I found, at least with the organic ones, right? I don't know about the other ones because I never looked at them. They were very like bendy. You know what I mean? So like they were very pliable. And so putting them in was a bit difficult because they're kind of like, they're not very rigid. Like putting a flaccid penis in. Like you're gonna have a bad time. Like there's a reason that we need the rigidity, okay? So these guys are very rigid. These, and very important, rigidity is a thing that you want in your tampon. These are the Tom Organics. And so my cousin brought these for me from the homeland.
I have those.
Wait, they exist?
No,
you were in Australia. Did you buy them there?
I was in Australia and I bought them there, and I was just like, where's the applicator? I was like, what am I supposed to do with this? I was like so shocked. I was like, what? I was like, whatever, I can do this. But at first I was just like, did I just grab the wrong box? But that's literally the only thing that was available. And any other store we went into, I only could see those. So I was like, where's the freaking applicators?
Just like here, I can only see the options with applicator. So
Okay,
yeah, so we're having the same experience, but just swapped.
Are you
and when you
presenting
think about it,
an option that's only available in Australia? Like, I just want to know if that's now what's going on.
If what's going on?
I said, are you presenting me with the only option available that actually works is from Australia? And like, I have no access to it? Is that what we're doing?
I will send. Look, I'm telling you, when I asked my cousin to bring me tampons, she brought me like a lifetime supply.
That's hilarious.
Can I Amazon? Like Amazon Prime?
Yeah, probably buy them online. So they're organic ones. So, and thus far we're golden. You know what I mean? Like nothing's come out, and I feel like it has a lot to do with the density of it, right? Like the rigidity of it. Anyways, if you can just like get yourself together, right? I mean, you know how to check your cervix. It's the same thing. Popping it in there. You're just putting this in first. This is where it's golden. And they slide right in because they have like the torpedo head shape that you need. Not this bloody insert like a square into my vagina.
Okay, let me Amazon Prime.
Well, I just popped on Amazon and I can't find them.
Oh my gosh.
Nah.
All right, well, let me try and hook y'all up. I'll see if you can order them off their own like direct website or something like that.
I wonder, Cora, the brand Cora, it looks like they have non-applicator ones, and they kind of look
I've tried them as well. I've tried them.
Oh, dang it.
Not impressed.
All right. Well, so listeners, if you guys have, especially in the States and Canada, because obviously that's where we're on Struggle Street, if you have recommendations for a tampon, an organic tampon, something that, is less bad, I guess.
I've also tried Lola.
Yeah.
Not impressed either.
Okay. So that's the tampon game. But now let's talk about the other options, because one of the reasons this episode is coming up is because we do get that question. Like, all right, so like, what do you guys recommend? Like a cup, a disc, etc. So I think this is a good time to go over to like the actual bleed strategy, right? So the three of us, I believe we all use tampons at the moment.
Yes.
May shock
I know.
people. I don't know why, but it just does. But we do a bleed strategy isn't just like what do you use, but it's like when do you use it? How much of it do you use? How do you like bleed in the day versus how do you bleed at night? And I think that that's an interesting question too, that we could go around and answer. So, Ash, what's your
Yes.
like routine?
Also, well, other than just bleeding through, because that is my current routine. I
I mean,
just
that counts. Yeah, like what, like if you're at home, do you just free bleed and then like do you plug it in when you go
yeah.
out?
Side note, I also use the L organic tampons, so don't recommend those either. Those are the three that I'm like, look here, don't come at me with them, or tell me, and it's maybe just my vagina. There you go. So I will say that lately I've been more and more like I cannot bring myself to use a tampon if it's like a light bleed or anything less than like
Yeah.
heavy. Like I don't know, like there's just something that's like come over me that's just like no 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 no. Like I mean that's literally the message I get in my body. It's like no 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 no. You know what I mean? And so literally I think yeah, like you know like I'll just like free bleed if it's just not that much because I'm like okay well what's the difference between like cervical mucus and like a little bit of blood, right? I'm like at this point, you know what I mean? So I have been doing that. I will sometimes switch to pads at night. I haven't really used pads since postpartum, I will say that. But then given my current just bleeding through everything, I've been considering bringing those back. I am going to try other different types of discs, but some of them are like $17-$30. I'm like, what the flip? Like, I don't mind paying it if it's going to work, but there's that. Anyways.
Is it like a 2-week trial? Do y'all
Yeah,
have
I
one?
was like, not that I'm like, can I return it? But I'm just like, yo, bro, like, this is like legit not working.
Yeah.
Like, can you like, I don't know, swap it out for another product or something?
Yeah.
But I have been really curious about the period panties that I'm possibly considering just because at this point I'm bleeding through my tampon. So I actually don't know what the point of my tampon is right now. That's where I'm at.
Oh,
Ashley's
true.
frustrated.
Are you listening to this show hoping to get some golden nuggets to help you on your way to recovery? Well, great. I hope that you find them because that is exactly what this show is for. But if you really want to take your recovery all the way, completely commit and get on track with your goals, whether they be finally feeling overall healthy, finally getting pregnant, or finally getting back to training, you'll want to join us inside of the HA Society. Not only is this the perfect community to ask questions and get your support and the accountability that you so often need during these uphill battles with body image and understanding nutrition and incorporating exercise, but it's also a hub of exclusive resources for HAs. All of the HA podcast episodes are released in advance and completely ad-free, so you can listen on the go to the raw, unedited versions uninterrupted. All of the one-on-one coaching calls, of which we have 2 a week in different time zones, are uploaded to our private podcast feed so that you can listen to events with practitioners and the past community calls as though they were bonus podcast episodes, because I know how much you love to listen to this kind of stuff. And in these calls, we cover requested topics like overcoming the weight gain fears, communicating with friends and family about our HA, diving into how HA works, and debunking the imposter syndrome that so many of us have around this diagnosis. There's also an entire resources section with lectures, workshops, and training from the past events that are hosted by experts like Sarah Liz King, Laura Lyons, Kaylee McDevitt, Holly Dunn, and many more. As a member, you also get direct access to myself and Coach Ashley in the DMs. So if you have personal questions or need individualized advice about your recovery, we're in there answering your questions in the DMs, as are all of our other members in the group who impress me week after week with how they show up for each other It's incredible. It's like women are just all becoming mini coaches for each other. It's so good. The HA Society is really the place to be if you're going through recovery, no matter what stage you're at. Whether you have HA or you've got a few recovery periods, we have your back and we're all your new best friends. So come and meet us at thehasociety.com/join. That's thehasociety.com/join, and the link is in the show notes for you. Okay, on with the show.
Okay. And you're saying the period I can't say the word panties because it just sounds lame.
It is a little like,
Yeah.
Panties, like I'm too serious for that. But the period underwear. But I will say undies.
yeah,
So
undies
this
are way better. I don't know, panties.
Period
just-
undies. So are you saying like you are considering them for the daytime, or?
I am. I'm actually open to anything because my current strategy at 35 years old is not working.
Is this how it was before you lost your period? Like, what was your strategy before? Or has your flow changed?
Good point. So I thought my flow got super heavy, but it was only because the organic tampons just were not holding. Like, we're just not, so like, I just thought that, oh, wow, look at, I just have a really heavy flow. And I think Dani thought this too, because I finally was like, yo, bro, do you find
it was because you said something and I was like, oh my gosh, yes, I think. And so I think prior to this, I bet you're the same, Ash. No, I'm not going to say that you're the same because this was a shit show actually, but I would just put a tampon in and I would almost forget about it. It was so effective. And I would just like fumble my way through periods. And these were years ago, I barely remember like pre-HA, but I know that I would fumble through and just be like, okay, it's probably done. And then take it out and then keep bleeding and be like, ah! And like have to keep going. Like I didn't have awareness of how I would typically bleed and like what to expect. And I think maybe it was a little all over the place and there wasn't like a strong pattern because I would just like,
you just weren't paying attention to it.
I probably just wasn't paying attention. And so I would just like not plan accurately. I would always be caught in public without a tampon. Like I was just not one of those girls who like had it together at all. Like if you someone would ask you, in the locker room if you have one, absolutely not. I don't have one. I don't have one. I need you to lend me one. So
oh my gosh. So I don't think I've ever had a really, really heavy one. But then again, a lot of the years leading up, I was already on the spectrum of like low energy availability. So I'm sure my cycle was already getting super light. So when was the last time I actually, and then before that, I was on birth control. So I legit have to go back to the archives of Ashley's memory to like my first period in like 5th grade.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So like that's how far back in the archives. So my name is Ashley Smith. I'm 35 and I'm just learning about my actual bleed pattern and bleed strategy.
This is why this is important conversation because I feel like we're going to have strategies in place for how we're going to handle it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So
like
Mishi,
my experience.
Oh,
okay. I was just going to say like my experience with the panties, the period panties through the day, right? During the day was I actually got like some vaginitis. Like I got some itchiness. Yeah. And I tried twice, 2 months in a row. I tried it and both times I got very itchy because I think that because my bleed was like on the heavy days and I think it just got like too humid in there with all of the liquid in such a warm, moist area. I think I just developed a bit of a reaction.
I wonder if it has to do with like the period underwear itself because it has that like lining that like basically is that's like basically like a raincoat kind of like lining, you know, like nothing can penetrate that, so it just like sits there. Like on the other hand, like some days on like if I'm sitting at, I'm just to be honest, if I'm sitting at home all day, which most days I do, and I'm not going outside, I just wear like black biker shorts and just let it go, just let it rip.
Yeah, for real.
And like it doesn't like, maybe because like I can almost breathe and it can go through and it doesn't stop, I don't get the vaginitis. But
Okay, but are you not bleeding on like your chairs?
yeah, but it's a leather chair, I can just wipe it off.
Yeah. You just gotta be careful where you sit. Get a towel, sit on a towel.
Yeah, so you're like, so like legit, like your bleach strategy is like, no, this chick only sits on leather chairs.
Yeah. You know, and it's really, okay, side note, it's also really funny because most of the time I don't actually wear underwear just like ever.
I don't either.
So like I was just like at a wedding, and that green dress that I keep posting pictures of, I was just like, man, if I have like some cervical mucus that just pops out, like it's, people are gonna see it. So what I do is I just pull like my dress up a little bit higher and almost like sit on the seat, so I'm not sitting on the dress.
So you have, hang on a second, because this is what a lot of us are thinking. You have your bare coochie out sitting on public surfaces?
You know, there's still a little bit of dress sitting there, so it's not like straight on like a surface.
Shade. I'm just clarifying because it's definitely something like that I would do, but I just.
Oh, no, I would do it too.
What is your crotch sitting on? Like, I mean, cervical mucus on the dress or bare crotch on some dirty chair. I'm gonna go with cervical mucus on the dress. I'm going for it.
I was just like, my strategy was like, at least if it's at the bottom of my dress, somebody would be like, oh, she probably just spilt something on her dress, versus it being like right in the same area. Like, oh, I think you peed yourself a little bit.
Yeah, you know, we're just rolling the dice, and I like that. It's fast and loose. That's definitely like my stuff. I've heard, so I ran out of underwear. What happened? I just slowly was like wearing it out. You know what I mean? Like it's starting to get holes because I just get like the cheap Target underwear. It doesn't last very long. It's like they just start to kind of like fall apart. And so I was kind of getting rid of them, and it dwindled away. And I'm in this situation where I would run out of underwear all the time. And I just wouldn't go and buy it. Like I just couldn't be bothered. And you guys had said, like some other conversation, I swear, I've heard y'all multiple times now mention not wearing underwear. And I've had some clients say that they don't either. And I was like, I've just been trained to wear underwear. Like I didn't realize that was an option. But I have been trying it instead of going to bar being like, let me try this situation. I haven't worn underwear like at all week, and it's great. And it's been a few months, like just if I run out, I just run out. And I was telling you guys the other day though, I have found the mucus in the legs of my like I can feel it in there, like just like a cold, like squishy, like goo. And I've lifted my pant leg up and found it in there. So, I mean, of course, like, where else is it going to go? Like, this is an inevitable thing. But, I mean, at least you don't miss it, I guess. Like, at least I know. So that's a risk that you take.
That is. I mean, I feel like I don't wear underwear. I mean, but I actually stopped wearing underwear whenever I developed HA, just because, like, none of my underwear fit. And I was like, oh, screw it. I don't think I even want it anyways. You know what I mean? Uh-huh. So,
and when you have HA, you don't even have cervical mucus, so you just like
yeah.
So
yeah. There's no cervical mucus, and that's when I just started my free no underwear wearing.
It's historically not always been about mucus catching. It's been about this weird feel, like jeans without underwear seems weird. Like yoga pants, like okay, because they're just giant underwear, but. Like the jeans situation, like tracksuit pants, 100%. You know what I mean? Designed to not wear with underwear. But like the seam in the jeans, like what, like Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think I know what you're saying, but I think I've just gotten so used to it. So it's
Because like I
Yeah,
think
it actually doesn't bother me.
I'm overthinking like the
I think if
possible,
you have high-waisted mom jeans, that could cause some friction. You know what I
because
mean?
like
That are
camel
like,
toes would also be increased in
well,
frequency.
I don't think my jeans are that tight that I would have
yeah.
a camel toe in
Yeah.
my jeans.
I've never
If
actually
you're
had a camel toe. I think that's like a specific anatomy of certain people as well, but I'm not sure.
Fair, fair. I mean, I think maybe I feel like workout pants or shorts are really like that's where you gotta be mindful.
yeah.
But jeans, I've never had a, you know what I mean?
Like if your jeans are that tight, you're gonna have some other problems like a yeast
I guess I
infection.
just don't like the idea of jeans on like rubbing on that skin.
Yeah, it's really it's a cause for like a callus.
But like, yeah. Well, yeah. I don't have any tight jeans at the moment, so it hasn't been an actual problem. I just have like the loose kind right now.
Yeah, I just feel like in this phase in life, I don't even wear clothes that tight anymore. Like that would be a problem. Like, my olden days, like when I was wearing super, super tight jeans, but I just like don't wear really tight clothes like that anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. By the way, I don't recall any of my period underwear having any kind of raincoat material. I think that
Like,
Now I'm like really concerned. I'm like, oh my
unless
god.
this, unless this is like only, we're not from like cold, rainy places. And so maybe they're just like, I'm not experienced in raincoat materials. But mine is more of like a mesh netting on the
What
inside
brand do
of
you
the.
have? So then like that's like my other side. Even when I go to buy period undies, I'm sitting here be like, okay, which ones has recently been in the news to actually not be toxic free? I'm still having the same debate. I'm still having the same debate. Which ones are actually toxic and going to cause something, and which ones are actually the ones, and you know what I mean? So I'm just like, you know what I mean?
It's
That's why
easier
I'm
to
just
just
like,
not.
it's tough because especially with the period underwear, they can market it to be 100% organic, which the cotton may be, but it's that lining that'll get you. So it's like whatever they make raincoats out of, I don't know what that fabric is, but that is what's in the bottom of most of your period underwear that catches it. So it might be covered with the mesh,
Yes, it might
or
be. It's
there are.
creating like a steamy environment in there.
Yeah,
If that's
yeah.
happening. And so that gave me the itchies. But if I just for some
it's
reason wearing it, we'll get to when I do wear it later and it doesn't cause me the itchies. But my point was just that during the day with all the activity, it was not it was too much. All right.
Yeah, I do
What
have a thought of like, how are you absorbing that much blood?
Well, my vagina tends to release the blood only upon movement. So I found I will not wake up in the morning with like blood on my underwear if my period comes at night. It will be totally
Fair.
dry. I will go to the toilet, I will pull my underwear down and pee, and then when I wipe, it's
Yes.
like a murder happened. So there's something about stillness that I don't flow, and then when I get up and I'm moving, it comes out. So I think that's why I get away with it.
That's the same way I am too. Because I was like hearing you guys chat, and I'm like, maybe there's something wrong with me. Because like mine's only like if I'm sleeping, I really don't like have a lot, especially like when I first start, and
I
then like,
cannot wear a tampon at night at any
oh
level
yeah,
of yeah.
Wait, at any part of your
I might get a
cycle?
tiny bleed through, but just like drop, like spotting.
So like at night, I do feel like if I'm like in the middle of my cycle, I will have some like bleed through at night.
Heavily, sufficient enough that it's a problem that you need to solve, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Yeah. So like, like I feel like like when I say like I have 2 full days of like a full bleed, Like I really do have 2 full days of a full bleed. But then it just like sprinkles off of, you know what I mean? Like it just trails off.
Yeah. Okay.
Interesting.
Okay. So then if you're
Maybe I do have a heavy bleed.
I
I just think that some people's like I really think that everyone has slightly different anatomy and positioning of their uterus. And I do think it causes a different experience for everyone with everything from pregnancy as well through to how you have your bleed and how you experience cramps because it's that positioning, pushed against certain parts of your digestive system that means some people get the poops or the nausea and some people don't. Like Ash, you felt like you carried Nuggy in your back. I remember you saying that, and like
So
the
yeah.
entire position of your uterus matters
Yes.
as to how you experience everything.
Yeah. That would be interesting to maybe get my uterus checked out. Be like, is it like tilted? No, seriously. She was so high that I never actually filled out in my lower like abs. I never got like rock hard in my lower abs, but I was rock hard from like my sternum to like probably right at my belly button. You know what I mean? Like meaning that like she never
Dropped.
like yeah, like she never dropped, and when she dropped, she like legit came out like 30 minutes later. So maybe my like uterus is just like so upright and stuck up that it's just like flowing down. Anything in that uterus is gonna come straight out, and it's not like lower positioned type of thing. Like
That's my theory.
In my ribs. Huh?
That's my theory. That like it's kind of just flowing because it's at a position in which it can do that at any time. But like me and Mishi got to be up and upright.
Yeah, or it's not coming out.
So good. Okay, all right. So Mishi, what's your routine then from day one?
I do have tampons like at the house, so I will use those. But actually, I was kind of like you whenever you were saying like, I just like it's almost like intuitively or tampon. I forget the way you worded it, but it's like I'll just say how I feel about them. It's like now tampons. I'm just like I don't know how I feel about using a tampon. And because sometimes it like they hurt to pull out, and then like if you have really light days, it feels like it's drying everything out. So I don't know. And I've just as of lately have just been really second guessing the whole tampon situation, almost as if like all of the things that you've thought were true and then they were not true anymore. I would just wonder how many other things I'm still doing that are like that. And so I don't know, one day I just started thinking about my whole like I guess period strategy and tampons. I'm like, should we really be wearing these? I don't know. So anyways, the long and the short, I have them in the house in case I need to go outside and go into the world. But if I am just
and there's no leather chairs,
and if there's no leather chairs around, for the instance that there's no leather chairs, I will use a tampon, especially like more so day 2, because my first day is on the little bit of the lighter side. But so on my heavier days, I'll wear a tampon if I have to go outside. But most of the time, I'm either like hanging out in biker shorts, which they're pretty. The ones I have are pretty thick, by the way. So they really absorb a lot. Or I do wear period underwear too. So period underwear are like my new favorite thing. So I definitely wear period underwear to bed because I have wore biker shorts and I have like blood on the sheets, and my husband is just like, this is repulsive. Like, please, like take care of this.
He's like, I support everything.
I draw the line.
But like, I don't want to roll over in period blood.
Bless his heart. This guy, he really takes a lot. So yeah.
Free bleeding all over the house, just no given.
And he's like, will you put deodorant on? Will you just like do all I'm like so resistant to all of these things that I once was like so conditioned to do.
He's like, who's
I don't wear deodorant
why?
either, but my husband doesn't either, and so he doesn't get to say anything to me. But
Yeah.
I don't think I smell as bad as him. Like sometimes it's bad. Like he smells like not great, and there's nothing I can do.
I think that's me. I'm like your husband, where my husband's like, you just like, please don't be the smelly kid. Just please don't. That's what he tells me. But anyways, I guess the long and the short is like, if I can get away with it, I just free bleed. If I can't, I wear period underwear, and then if I can't do that, then I wear tampons. That's like my last resort option.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Does your husband feel like his wife got switched? He's like, hold on, like, you know, like when I married her, like she wasn't smelly and she wasn't all over the place. I married her and she's definitely, I mean, depending that's a bold move then to move to Florida. Like you should have moved to like Alaska if he was like worried about, you know, you being the smell room. I mean, it's like cold all the time. You don't actually have to wear deodorant. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know, I really swung the other way on the pendulum. Hopefully, I land somewhere in the middle. I feel like I'm still going through some changes, and like maybe I'll find my middle ground, and I won't be such a he calls me Mowgli, like from the Jungle Book.
I don't know who that is, but I'm imagining he thinks you're a wild person from the bush.
Yes, exactly. I'm raised by wolves, essentially. So yeah, poor guy. But you know, my armpits, like when I was like coming out of HA, going through recovery, like I literally smelled like a dirty hamster cage.
I smell
like
awful.
I was like,
awful.
What is this? Like, I've never smelled something so terrible. And so, anyways, I've slowly phased out of it, and I don't smell as bad as I once did.
Yeah.
So I think there's a little bit more detoxing that'll go on, and then pretty soon I could probably go deodorant less.
Can I ask you a question? Because I went through it too.
Yeah.
When I got my period back, the smell, and I was like, for the very, very first cycle, I was so greasy, right? Because like that's part of why teenagers get so much acne is because I think it's the prostaglandins or something, like they just produce tons of oil suddenly, and so you are just literally more oily. And that happened to me the first one for some reason. It didn't happen again, but the smell was there, and I think I went through like a solid year of onion. Are you able to like express what you smelled?
You know, like literally, if you've ever had a hamster and you didn't clean its cage for like a good like 2 weeks, like that's what it was.
Never. I can't.
I totally had a hamster growing up.
I can picture like the smell of a pet store.
Yeah, go into a pet store and go smell the hamster cage.
The hamster cage is a unique smell. I will say that.
Yeah. So and I had a lot of animals growing up, so I could have picked through a ton of animals that I smelled like, but it was very distinct of a hamster.
Yes. So I also don't wear deodorant, but I do have one in the car for like I will expose myself to the chemicals. But I do use the native one, but you know, I'll expose myself to it if I absolutely have to, kind of thing. So it's there on like a as needed basis. But I mean, I probably use it like 3 times a year, kind of thing. Like it's
okay. I feel like your deodorant strategy is much like my period strategy. Like if I have to be
you are not leaving the house at all from the sound of it.
Okay, if I have to be a participant in the world on my period, then I will use a tampon. Like, but if I can get away with it, then I won't.
Right.
Mishi, are you like an undercover introvert? Like, is that what I'm picking up?
Yeah, I'm like an extroverted introvert.
Okay.
Like I do really love to connect with people, but it is really hard to find my people. But like if you're my people, I'm probably like a like you can't get rid of me type of person. So, but
Yeah.
I do very much like to stick to my own. I like to stay inside. Well, I like to be outside a lot, but just by myself
And my dog.
and my dog,
Yeah.
my
I
best friend.
traveled. I've traveled a lot on my own. Like I did like Europe. I backpacked in Europe and I've done like week-long trips and stuff. And Jake is away. Jake's currently backpacking by himself. I just prefer to be by myself for the absolute most part and to like travel on my own. I went to Disneyland by myself. Like I'm just having a
Did you like ride rides like all by yourself?
100%. And I passed the time in the lines by reading a book. It was
Huh.
so good. Don't knock. It was so good. Go on whatever ride I want to go on, get lunch when I want to get it, eat where I want to eat, just like leave when I want to leave. I love it.
Okay, so I am the extrovert that totally needs my introverted time 100%. And so for me as an extrovert, like it's an exercise. It's a exercise that I know that I will like it, but it's not my initial thing to travel by myself, but I will. I 100% will. Like I'm like, but more of like I don't want to be inconvenienced by your schedule because if I want to go see something epic, I'm trying to see something epic, right? But I'm the extrovert that hates Disneyland. I don't want to be in rides with all these people. I don't want to be around like I don't want to wait like 30 minutes for 2 minutes. I don't want to pay $1,000
I
for
completely
water.
agree. I would
I
actually probably
don't.
not go back to Disneyland.
Yeah, I actually don't like it. Poor Nugs. I'm at the
I was
center with
just I was
aunties.
like 19 when I went, so I just felt like I wanted
Yeah.
to.
Like
You know
I'm
what I
like
mean?
the extrovert that totally knows that I need to be some alone time, but I don't really know if I actually really like. So I don't think extrovert people have to like crowds because I don't really technically enjoy that. But like I enjoy like laughing. Like this has completely filled my cup for like a week. Like anytime I can like actually truly connect and giggle, I am so happy.
Maybe you're an introverted extrovert. Like you're halvesies. Like you like to give out energy, but you need a lot of time to like recharge. That I feel like that's how I am. Like I genuinely do like people, but you but I'm very picky with my people.
You guys, here's the thing. I feel like if you are purely an introvert or purely an extrovert, you're on the spectrum of some kind of disorder. Like you know what I'm saying? Like
Fair.
there's something a little bit weird about you that like you need to be with someone always, or you know, so I think everyone's a solid
Fair.
mix of both. I think that makes perfect sense. We all love a good canceled plan, you know what I mean? We all love when the plan actually happens and it ended up being great. We we love where we wanted the plan to be canceled but it wasn't, but we still went and it was great. Like we're all kind of like that, I think. And then some people just swing a little more on the side of like not wanting the plans canceled, and people who want the plans canceled, and
Yeah.
like you just kind of ever so slightly fall to like one side of it. But I mean, Jake has been away. My own husband has been gone for a week, and it is so good to just be by myself. We don't even see each other during we both work from home full time. But he's upstairs and I'm downstairs, and we just like see each other at lunch kind of thing. And I still love him being away.
I won't lie. I do like my husband being away too, except for at night. Like I can't sleep. My husband's been away this entire week and I like I cannot sleep. Like, I'll purposely stay up until like 1 o'clock until I'm like so exhausted until I can just go in my bed and just fall asleep, because I will sit there and listen to every single noise. Like, oh, somebody just broke into the house. They're going to murder me. Like,
Oh my
I put up all of these contraptions. So just in case somebody breaks in, like, at least they have to get over these
Home Alone
contraptions.
there's like marble traps on the staircase.
Yeah, so I mean, I do like when he's alone, but I prefer, like, if he could just come back at night, that'd be great.
Oh my gosh, that is so. I feel like it's almost unhinged, but I I have absolutely no issues with being home alone. I love it to death, but I do miss Jake more. Like every time he's gone, suddenly I'm like in love with him again. Like at that, when you first are together sort of thing. I'm like thinking about him like that. But then he gets back and I'm like, hey, I don't understand that, but I think it's common. And with the whole sleep thing, I realized that I was having some trouble falling asleep the first couple nights. And I was like, wow, why? And I realized that because of Jake, our bedroom is like some kind of like seaside oasis. When he's in there, the ocean sounds are going. He's got two fans going that are like rotating at certain angles. And so there's just like this tropical breeze happening with the ocean sounds. But when I go to bed, there's nothing. And so I'm realizing that I have just this amazing system where I get into bed and he goes around the room and like creates this environment that's perfect for sleeping. And I just think it's just happening. Like I don't realize that it's happening, like that he's doing that until he's gone. I'm like, oh, my room isn't actually on the ocean.
Oh my gosh. So ours is a little bit different only because Blake's been in the military for like 9 years prior to getting out. So, like I would do 6 months without him or like 6 weeks without. I mean, like whenever we moved to California, we got there, we dropped all of our stuff, and then he left for 6 weeks. You know what I mean? So it was like, figure out the desert, figure out this new home, in the coyotes, all things, these coyotes trying to eat my cat. That's for another story, for another podcast. It was funny. We won, but everyone won. Okay, anyways, and then now that he's in the reserves, like he literally leaves every 3 weeks. He's gone either from like Thursday to Sunday. So it's like consistently he's like gone. And I will say, husbands, I don't know what it is, but it's like they take up a lot of time. They take up a lot of time. I don't know what happens when all of a sudden it's just me and Nugs, and it's like I've gotten like 100 bonus hours back to my day, and I'm like, I just don't understand this math.
I'm not sure what's different about my behavior,
but I have 100 bonus hours added to my day, and I don't okay. So yes. I mean, it's not that I don't miss him, but I will say, even someone who is like well versed in being by herself, you know what I mean, that like the first few nights it is a little weird to go to bed by myself. But I think it's like the like nurturing vibe where I'm like, my whole people are not, you know what I mean? Like they're not gathered in the same spot. My people are scattered. You know what I mean? And it's not like, because I sleep really warm. Blake sleeps really warm. So like we're not much of like a cuddling type. Like our cuddle is like I'll throw my leg over him. You know what I mean? Like like we'll call it like the dead fish cuddle. I'm like, I love you, as I put my ankle like on him, right? Because it's just so hot in nature. Like he's so hot that he's like, I love you, but you're making me sweat. Like and he's just like, and he has to have like Arctic Zero, helicopter fan going, and I'm just
Jake does that too.
Going on. Like, anyways, so I think for me it's just like a sensing that something's not together, right? And so like I think the alert goes off type of thing. And I have bigger dogs. Granted, my guard dogs have all kind of passed, but I've had like a part chow. That chick, you aren't coming near my house with my mini chow. Like she want to tear
Those
you
things are
up.
vicious.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, they're kind of intense. Like I can actually really only take her to like yoga places whenever she like was 10 years old, and people like, oh, she's so well behaved. I'm like, because she's 10. You know what I mean? And so like literally like even when I was doing yoga, she would face out, like so her back would be to my back, and she would just sit on my mat being like, ain't no one coming near my mom. So literally having that type of dog in the house, I feel like had provided a lot of, you know.
Yeah, Yoda's not doing anything. But
Yeah.
however, he did get up a couple of times and he was barking. And that's why I was like, okay, if he can hear something, there's definitely something out there.
No, bro, there's not. There's a bird. Like 100%. There's not a single thing out there. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
and then so like my
gross.
dogs do sleep with me, and so like I get that pressure, and then you know pressure therapy, and I'm out. Plus some magnesium, pressure, out.
No,
Yeah.
I'll just read a book till I fall asleep. You guys, do you know? I just discovered libraries.
Did they not have them in Australia?
Did you know about libraries?
Oh my
They're
gosh,
free.
Blake loves libraries.
Free
He wants
books.
to-
I was just like,
Yeah.
what do you mean? Like, you just prove you live here and you can just take books. And I know this sounds so stupid, but I had absolutely no idea. Like, I just, like, it's not that I didn't know that, like, I just never thought about it. Like, I could just go to the library. You know what I mean? And I think I always also felt that you were paying for books at the library.
At the library.
Oh, like you had to pay for like a membership or something.
Or like a
Maybe.
rental fee. Like maybe I felt like it was like the Blockbuster for books. Like I think that's what I thought.
That's
And
fair.
so we go. Yeah, like I think that's just what happened in my brain for 31 years. So that's been great. But that's a side note. But okay. Well, I feel like we got heavily off topic.
Yeah, we
Heavily.
did. Okay,
That's
so
okay.
hold on. So bringing it back, I'm on Amazon, and is it Top or is it Tom that you have?
Tom. I thought it was
T-O-M.
Tom.
You know, I think
T-O-M.
I remember when these ones came out too. I swear it was a high school girl that made them.
That you
Stop.
went to high school with?
No, like Australia's not that small.
There's more in high school.
You never know.
That's a fair
gonna look
question.
it.
That's a fair question, Mishi.
Yeah.
It's the tomco.com.
Why is she not like? We need to get her on this podcast. Like, we need to get her like Tom Organic. I'm looking. Her up
I mean,
on-
I don't. I could be thinking of a different brand, but I just remember, you know, I just remember this crazy story of this like girl who was really freaked out by everything that was in tampons, and so for like a school assignment she made an organic tampon. This
Wow.
was years ago. I remember it was all in the news.
Good on her, because like I wasn't even in a level of awareness about any of that stuff when I was in high school.
Yeah. Well, that's what good schools will do. I assume she was in a good school. Because that sure as shit was not going to be an assignment at my school.
Well, Tom also has, I think, some period undies as well.
I mean, they probably all have to do that. Like, I reckon they're all having to keep up with the...
They do have one.
Yeah, okay. From the first point of inception, when completing a high school assignment, Marx never wavered in her mission to transform the feminine hygiene industry. So yes, I remember her, Amy Marks, she invented Tom's in high school and started selling it. So there you go.
There we
Dang.
go. Everyone
Dang.
gets
Story.
inspired.
Dang.
All right. So the that's our bleed strategies and our how I feel about our husbands and alone time share session. I feel like that's everything. So none of us use cups. We don't really use
I've
them.
tried.
I think
Well,
it's
no,
on the disc.
I've used a disc. I've used a
I
disc.
don't use the cup. I don't currently have a plan to use the cup. I think I do kind of have more of a plan to move towards like what Mishi's doing, which is just sort of, I mean, I'm kind of happy with like our current situation. Like I agree that that tampons don't feel like the best thing for us to be using, but because I only have a 2-day bleed, I'm not super worried about it. And so that's just kind of like my plan for now. Nothing fancy.
Yeah. Yeah, and by the time this pod airs, we'll have a post that gives you the options, pros, cons, and then you can
Oh yeah.
yeah, and you can make the
Yes.
choice for yourself which one
Mishi,
best
I've been
aligns
doing
with
a lot of
you.
research. You've been
I
doing like a
have.
research program for us, making a blog.
I have.
That's great.
Did you know that the cup was invented or thought of or whatever in 1867?
Stop.
Well, it makes
Yeah.
sense, doesn't it? Because back in the day, everything was about like a reusable option.
Yeah.
That makes so much sense. Like disposable things are way more recent.
Yeah.
So I love that.
Yeah, it's
But
just
I
mind
assume
blowing.
it wasn't silicone.
Yeah, I didn't look into what the options that they were using. Actually, I'm very interested now. So,
Yeah.
if was it like maybe some like sheepskin or something? I don't know.
That could be your thing,
Probably.
Mishi. Like you could bring back like ancient feminine products. It would be
For real.
so polarizing on the internet.
Oh God. My husband would be so cringe.
He's like Mowgli. What is
You know,
going on?
I love that happened. So when I met my husband, he was not the person he is today. So like I also got a total switch out. But but it's an absolute upgrade. So
Aw.
I don't know what happened, but I mean I do know what happened. I kind of do know what happened. But he was just this computer nerd guy, quite frankly, and he still is, absolutely. But who like survived off Taco Bell, and he vaped, like he was getting off smoking and he was vaping when I met him. He was living off Taco Bell. He was buying like venti size like Starbucks vanilla lattes. Absolutely none of that is anything he would ever even dare touch today.
Oh, he would
Like
not.
he would never smoke. He would never drink a venti Starbucks latte. He just he went through some health stuff and completely changed everything about his life. And he's just like Mr. Whole Food, organic, grass fed. And he did, when it actually started, he almost started to develop orthorexia. Like he did go through because he swung so hard. And because he was diagnosed with leukemia, right? So he just swung really hard in the direction because the doctors were like, there's nothing we can do. This is not a treatable condition at this time. And so it's all lifestyle. So he just went, okay, I'm now the health guy. And so he started putting on like as much muscle as he could because he's naturally a hard gainer, and started eating super clean, being really conscious of products. Like he chooses everything that we use in terms of like toothpaste, dish stuff. When we had a baby, he really spiraled because he was trying to figure out.
It'll make anybody spiral.
yeah, like plastic bottles and, you know, like what can she use and what can we put on her, and like, oh, it was so crazy. And he started to get anxiety about like eating sugar and things like that. And like luckily I was there to be like, just want you to know that I've seen this, I've been through this, and like the path you're on is not good.
You're
Like
presenting
this
with
is,
some signs
you are
of
presenting.
possible.
Yeah, 'cause he was just getting stressed. Like if he would have a chocolate or a donut or something, just like you and I, like all of us have experienced, he would panic. And like he would go just days of feeling like he's ruined his progress. But for him, it was more like he's brought himself closer to dying.
Yeah.
And like it was just like a different story. But that's what orthorexia is. Orthorexia is that exact thing, right? So like we talk about it in the HA Society more about you know, eating healthy is going to keep me thin most of the time, is going to keep me lean. Like that's tends to be more commonly what we see. Although we do see people who are just like afraid of putting poison in their body. But orthorexia seems to be a lot more common in men. And I think it's just because it develops more from like a fear of negative health outcomes due to like a traumatic diagnosis or something that happened to them at some point in their life.
Well, I do feel like with his, I mean, we all like know that like we're gonna die, but like we all live in this false sense that it's so far off. So to be diagnosed
Isn't that
with
weird?
it, and it's like present day, like we don't really know. All we know is that it hasn't expressed itself. Would, you know what I mean? Would be enough to set. I mean, none of us really sit here with like, you know, my ticking time bomb is like been alerted, and none of ours has, you know what I mean? Like I feel like it would be, you know, and so like it's so wild, like to hold that in your mind.
Yeah. It almost gives you like a sense of like you have some sort of control too, because you're just like, if I change XYZ, then I can change like my outcome. And it just makes you like
That's
more and
exactly
more
what it is.
obsessive.
It's exactly.
It's just really sad because like these are things that you shouldn't have to think about. And it just frustrates me because I feel like orthorexia and things of that nature are more of a modern um, issue challenge
Yeah,
than it has.
modern
Yeah.
consequence of like the world it is today.
Yeah. Because it's just like, prior like years and I don't know. I don't even know when you the last time we would have not had to think about this. 1950s.
I mean, they were dealing with plagues and stuff, so like I don't know. I mean, I
This
don't know if
is
there was
true.
I like it's Lord knows. It was probably, I mean, maybe it was more of an issue of more of like a fear of um dying of malnutrition. Was
Okay.
maybe that was a thing. Like I don't know, maybe not in the 50s, but like I don't know, actually I don't know. I'm really bad at history. But to like what you were saying as well, that like that the ticking time bomb thing of like Jake is in such a weird limbo where I think like what when you hear, oh, someone's been diagnosed with leukemia or something, you think like you have an image in your head of what that looks like and now what the path is going to be, and there's going to be appointments and there's going to be treatments and stuff. But actually there's a level in between where you're not sick yet. You have this, but you're not sick yet with it, if that makes sense.
What? Yeah, that's like a mind twist right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So there's acute leukemia and chronic leukemia. And acute is what you think of, where you need to go into chemotherapy and you need to lose all your hair and now we're in a battle. We're battling right now. And then there's chronic, which just means it's there, but it's not doing anything. You know, it's talking about war, but it hasn't pulled a trigger of any
Yeah.
kind.
So,
And
like,
so that's where my husband lives.
mm,
In like at any moment, my body could choose to go in this direction. And I think anyone who has like maybe breast cancer in their family, like in their history, probably has like a similar experience, right? Of just like, this is in my DNA and it could take a minute. It could like, it could happen. But for him, like it's there, you know, he doesn't have symptoms where he doesn't feel anything, but like, inside there are scars on his bones and things like that. Like there are physical manifestations of it. Definitely, those are there, but for some reason, it's not classified as, or I don't know if it's not even not classified. There's just literally nothing they can do. So it just is what it is, and that's like so weird. So he definitely like swung in that direction, and then I had to deal with like living with this hyper healthy person.
Yeah.
And that was hard for me because I mean, I was pregnant at the time. So I was just like my priorities were set, but it was definitely like hard to be like, now I'm experiencing when I want to go and have like a dessert or an ice cream. And that's going to be a triggering event for my partner. And so it was really interesting to experience that on the other side. He's not as bad anymore. I think he internalizes it a bit, so I'm not really sure, but it's definitely interesting to like watch your partner change. And I think that's probably quite like, I think everyone probably goes through that. I mean, you and Blake have definitely gone through that. Like, you're a totally different person, Ashley.
I'm 100%. I don't think so. I actually don't think you ever get the person that you marry, and I don't think that's even the goal. I've actually seen a lot of, unfortunately, like divorces like end because they're like, you're not the person I married. And I'm like, yeah, bro, I hope I'm not the person I was. I mean, did you meet me? You like, I mean, like Blake and I got married like fresh out of college, or you know, like I was finishing like my master's. Bro, like I don't know if I'd be my friend. Especially not now, right? But yeah, so like, yeah, I was talking with a friend who's going through like a horrific divorce right now, horrific, and I'm like, I don't even know how you would explain to your kids like how do you find someone to marry? I mean, like, I'm not the same person. You know what I mean? Like Blake's not the same. I mean, Blake's pretty consistent. He's pretty steady. I'm not gonna lie. The man's pretty steady. But obviously, like he's changed and grown. You know what I mean? Pretty sure he's been eating the same breakfast. So there's that. I'm a little concerned about his gut. He does have canker sores right now. I'm like, bro, you have an issue. I've been telling you about this. This is your 5th canker sore. Your body is screaming. But never mind. Anyways, but no, I think that like, you're supposed to change and evolve. Like, I hope my pinnacle of me wasn't at 22.
You got married at 22?
Yeah.
Get out of my town!
Huh?
What?
Yeah, I think we're going on 13 years this year.
You were a baby.
We were babies. That's what I'm saying. Like, I literally don't know what to tell Nugs. My thought process was, marriage is stupid. Everyone gets divorced. But I'll give it a go with you. This seems like reasonable. You know what I mean? Well, no. I didn't even think like, oh, like we were immune to it. I was like, seems like a good shot with, you know. That was my thought process.
You didn't even know who you were then. You hadn't even gone through your Saturn returns.
Look here. Not that I didn't care who I was. I mean, obviously there's still, but like, I hadn't gone through HA yet. I hadn't had a moment. Like, my life was like, how do I play Division I softball? How do I keep doing this the longest? I guess I'll go to school since I'm here. I didn't even know I had to pick a major when I showed up. Like, I didn't, you know what I mean? I was just like, my whole life was like, how do I keep playing softball, right?
Yeah, been there.
You're like, bro, I don't even think about softball anymore.
I don't, you know, which is so crazy because that consumed my life back then. Consumed consumed me, right? So again, like 22, you know, like when you look back on your old posts from Facebook, because we are that generation, you just, and it's just all cringeworthy. You're like, oh my gosh. But yeah, no, I don't think you ever get the person that you married. And so I think that there's always going to be like, okay, how do I explain this to Nugs? Maybe it's like qualities, like maybe like you're always curious. Maybe like you're always willing to like grow. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, like, you know, like these don't have to be qualities.
I don't think there were any signs of Jake's like growth potential. Not saying it wasn't there, but I don't. But like he needs a life altering event to change.
Mm.
Yet I still felt like we'll figure it out.
100%. I think my only logical thought was like, I think I could figure it out with you.
Yeah. Because we all think we can change them, but we can't.
Well, I mean,
I never thought, oh, I'll figure this out. I just was like, he'll figure this out. And I actually felt like when I met my husband, he was so playing it safe. The boy had never left California. You know what I'm saying? He was just like small town American kid. Which, by the way, I'm like throwing shade. You're 22. I think I got married at 24. Very different. And I had never spent a significant amount of time with him. We were exclusively long distance. We got married after 1 year, and I think we had spent a grand total of 8 weeks together, spread over a year's time period. So I can shut up. But it worked out. Like, isn't that so weird? And I was just everything about this is a bad idea.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. What am I going to tell Nugs? Like, what am I going to tell Nugs? I'm going to tell her, don't do what I did. I'm going to tell her that. Because, so in college, Blake and I, which is so wild. Mishi, wait till you meet Blake. Y'all, like, everyone's always like, are you sure?
Their story is the absolute best. But they have to be together to hear the story.
Yeah, that is true.
Don't worry about it.
So, to the point, like, I was dating somebody who, like, lined up with my life and everything. And then I met Blake. And then like, I kid you not, in, like, my previous relationship, he had asked me to marry him, right? So, and I was like, my whole body was like, no. But he was an amazing dude. So it wasn't that he was a douchebag or anything like that. He was epic. My body just said no. Anyways, long story short, Blake and I dated for 6 months and then got married. But this was after being secretly in love with him for like a year while like we partied in college, as if any of this has any potential to tell you who this person's going to be when you're married in 35. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know how Ashley just is this crazy like chola girl, you know what I'm saying? She's just like, I don't even know what the words are, just fast talking, like, let's just do this, like, crazy person. and then let you meet Blake, and he's bringing something different to the table entirely. He's very like, and I'm sure when he probably comes out of his shell more, like, without, like, I don't know, but he's very like thoughtful in his words. He's very like takes it slow. I mean, he's very, what's that accent, like, just Georgian or something?
Yeah, he's from like deep south. I can understand
like
him,
ma'am, you know what I mean? Like it's deep, and they're just not, it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't immediately, it's not what you thought, kind of thing. And they're the best together, but it's just so funny because she, I think, has been the way she is her whole life, and he's been the way he is his whole life. And he, like, when they met, I think that they totally acknowledged that difference, and they were just like, who are you? Like, and who are you? And this is just, I can't even express it. You have to meet them both.
I can't I can't wait. Well, this conversation is making me feel better because I literally 180 completely changed. I'm probably more on like the Jake side of how extreme I went. And my husband married something very different. And sometimes I'm just like, oh God, like he would never leave me. That's just his personality. He's very sweet. He loves me way too much. It's
Is he
insane.
a golden retriever?
Do we have a golden retriever?
Or is he like a golden retriever?
What do you mean?
It's like such a good way to describe like those guys who are just like so sweet, so well-meaning, so loyal. They're always up for like whatever.
You know what's
high
so
energy
funny
golden
is
retriever.
that description, is he the golden retriever? I used to like describe him as he's like a puppy or a dog, because like I could leave a room for literally 2 seconds and come back and he would be excited like I was gone for a year or something. And he hasn't changed. That hasn't changed. I've changed. So
He's just like, I love you. You're just a little bit more smelly.
yeah. The fact that, and he's a very think very UK, very European, very put together, very I don't know, like he's
UK, or are we saying Eastern European? Because these are
not
very
oh
different vibes.
no, very London. Let's say that. Okay, yeah, sorry.
Very Italian. You know, it was like with the all of you listeners in Europe know what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, he is very like London put together, like just I don't know. And then there's Mobley over here, is just, you know, bleeding through her shorts.
Yeah, I see this. I can see this. You've got like Harry Potter kind of over in your corner, who's just like, all right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Bless.
Oh,
Well,
we'll have to
guys,
try that
move on.
YouTube podcast.
We don't usually do this on this show, so that was just fun. I apologize for getting so up, guys, but this was fun.
This is a good one, like a lighthearted one to listen to, especially if the only thing you've been listening to is like period recovery stuff. So.
Yes, I hope someone pisses their pants from laughing so hard.
Yeah.
I think we think we're funny, but we're probably not. Just be prepared. Just be prepared for that. All right, guys. So yeah, unfortunately, we weren't able to give you like the world's best bleed strategy, and that would be cool. But it's really
we're still figuring it out.
It's deeply personal. It's your flow. It's your anatomy. Are you a sleep bleeder? Because that matters. If you're not, maybe you can get away with it, right? Are you like maybe you're not weirded out by the cup? Do the cup. Maybe you are weirded out by the cup. Do the 2 tampon free bleed strategy. Like, it's all totally up to you. I don't think there's a right or wrong way. I mean, even if you want to be out in public and put that bare coochie on someone else's leather seat, like, you do you. Because apparently you've now got permission to do that.
You do. I give you permission to do that.
Y'all, when I book the retreat now, I'm gonna have to like be like, are there leather seats?
Oh, hey, that's a really good. Let's really quick tell everyone about the next retreats, actually, because I feel this is a good episode for that. So
I'm gonna pull up the Airbnb just so I can, because now I'm curious.
We are experimenting with retreats. So we already did plan one by invitation only. So we never publicly like advertised it, but we a desert retreat to Sedona with a bunch of women who we thought would be an excellent fit from this very community. So like an HA retreat for women who have recovered from HA, who are in HA, like whatever. We wanted to plan this epic event where, you know, you don't have to worry about the logistics and planning, which is like always great. And you're going to have an amazing experience, but also with like-minded women who are actually going to eat food and who are not going to talk about dieting and who are not going to comment on bodies. And like, we really wanted to create this experience full of women who get it. to make more connections with other women who get it, so that we can just build like a community and you can have more types of women like this in your life. And we sold out all the spots. It's going to be amazing. So we're like, we have to plan the next one.
Yeah. Well, because people were asking, they were like, when's the next one? I was like, good question. Let me get on this.
Yeah. So
yeah,
we're going to do the next one in March 22nd, I believe, in Joshua Tree in California.
Yeah.
So wherever you are in the world, Google Joshua Tree, see if that looks like your vibe. Ashley knows Joshua Tree super duper well, so she's going to be our excellent lead. We just are doing Sedona, and Ashley and I both know Sedona relatively well at this point. So we're kind of choosing places that we're experienced in, that are nature filled, that are calming and relaxing. So if you want to learn about it and like join the interest list and see if it's something that you would want to join us on, Mishi's currently working on a webpage that will probably.
By the time this is aired, this will be up. So
okay,
so
y'all,
it's gonna be.
I'm pulling. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're lagging, so I'm gonna keep talking until you're.
Okay, usually my period is at the beginning of the month, so it'll be fine. Okay.
All right. We'll have to come up with like a rule for the hot tub use, though. Like, just I don't know. We'll see. So we're trying to do a similar thing. We're like, we're renting a big house so that we can all live together like sorority sisters or something. She's gonna be doing a lot of we're cooking basically all the meals, making sure everyone has ample food is gonna be super important, but ample amount of time in nature, ample amount of personal growth. The trip is going to be so awesome. And so you're going to be able to find information on joining us at that trip at thehasociety.com/retreat.
Yes.
So yes, I'm like staring at Misha. I'm like, that we just decided right now is what the URL is going to be.
We'll link it in the show notes. It'll be linked in the show notes. So
okay, cool. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you didn't, if you were like, I hate that you guys just ranted for ages, I don't care. Don't let us know. But if you did enjoy it, do let us know. Maybe we'll do more of that. But if not, then we won't. You know what I mean? So we'll see you guys next week. Everyone have a great one. And thanks for tuning in. This episode is brought to you by Grassland Nutrition beef liver capsules. Did you know that in terms of nutrient density, beef liver actually blows vegetables and fruits out of the water? If you're a client of mine, you have already been instructed to eat beef liver either fresh or in capsule form. I recommend it for anyone and everyone who is, of course, dealing with amenorrhea and fertility challenges out there, but I may even recommend it for just everyone in general. Get your husbands on it, get your partners on it. If you have a history of HA and add on top of that maybe a history of the pill, maybe you've been pregnant before, through treatments or other, like your body's been through anything, you're absolutely 100% dealing with a nutrient deficiency of some kind. And while it's true that testing is going to be the best way to understand those exact deficiencies, eating nutrient-dense, real food is going to be one of the most important next steps that you take with or without testing. So I've been using and recommending Grassland Nutrition beef liver capsules for years now. And the capsule form makes it so easy to get your liver in every day. And I appreciate the transparency of this product in particular above others. So in case you're wondering, it's completely natural,
This is freeze-dried beef liver in capsules. It's organic, it's made from Australian beef, and my favorite of their products is the liver with kelp because of the iodine from the kelp, which is important for overall thyroid function, which is often low in women with underperforming hormones. So rather than eat seaweed snacks every day, I get to take this beef liver with the kelp for my iodine. So if you're recovering or working on a fertility journey right now, do not skimp the nutrient-rich source of beef liver. Get 10% off your order with the HA Society and support your favorite podcast along the way. They ship to most countries, so you should be covered. Just go to grasslandnutrition.net and use HA Society, just HA Society, at the checkout for the 10% off. That's grasslandnutrition.net with the code HA Society. Thank you so much for listening today, guys. Please subscribe to the podcast, and if you could head to iTunes specifically and leave a rating or review, that would help so much because it makes it easier for other people with HA who are Googling around to find the podcast really easily. So if you do that, you're doing a service to all of the women